The Great Wheel by Robert Lawson, Chapter 4. Uncle Patrick was big. Everything about him was big. Jutting beak of a nose, high arched chest, huge corded powerful hands. He'd a neck like a sea lion, and a voice that carried like the fog siren on Kilda Point. His square-cut red beard was as thick as a mattress. His laugh rattled the supper dishes, but his tread, strange enough, was light and sure as a cat's. He embraced Aunt Cecilia, then Stella and Agnes, swinging them clear off the floor, shook his brother by the shoulders, and then returned to greet Con. "So this is Mary Kate's boy," he shouted. "Cornelius Terence Kilroy. He has the Giblin hair and eyes indeed. But the small size of him must be Kilroy, and the white color. Mike, have you been keeping him buried in one of your manholes, the way he has the pallor of a bleached oyster on him?" "He's been doing quite a bit of office work lately," Uncle Michael said, "and very well, too." "Office work?" Patrick snorted. "Offices are for sniveling clerks and mice and cobwebs. Show me your hands, lad." Con held out his hands, palms up, feeling a little ashamed of their white softness. All the traces of peat cutting had long since disappeared. Only last week he had been rather pleased when Agnes had commented favorably on their genteel appearance, and now he was ashamed. "Humph," Uncle Patrick snorted. "The hands of a peony player. You wouldn't have been doing a bit of embroidery now, would you?" "I can handle a slane with the best," Con answered, coloring. "My palms may be a bit soft at the moment, but my knuckles are hard enough." Uncle Patrick gave a great roar of laughter and clapped him on the shoulder. "All right, my little fighting cock," he cried. "There speaks the Giblin blood, but we'll not be proving it now." Uncle Michael poured himself another cup of tea and motioned Aunt Cecilia and the girls to leave. "Now, Patrick," he said, "don't be upsetting the lad and filling his head with notions. He's doing well here where he is. Very well. I'm proud of him. He's a wonderful fine opportunity with me in a well-established business. He's no call to be blistering his hands with pick or shovel, or roaming the wild country, leaping from one job to the other. Opportunity, is it?" Uncle Patrick roared. "Opportunity. Is it opportunity you call it to be making a pasty office clerk of him? Pouring in ledgers and dickering over the price of a barrow load of bricks? Or scratching ditches in your dirty city streets like a lapdog trying to bury a bone, when there's men's work crying to be done?" Uncle Michael answered heatedly. "There's as much glory in a well-built sewer, Pat Gibling, as any of your grand tunnels or bridges. I'll not have the lad snatched away from us to go following your harebrained engineer, whatever his name is, from hither to yon." "For your information," Uncle Patrick shouted, "the name is Ferris George Washington Gale Ferris. Also for your information, he's the most brilliant young engineer walking this earth today. The way he'd make your Thomas A. Edisons and your Alexander Graham Bells look like petty tinkerers. Only 12 years out of college, and he has a great knowledge of the ways of iron and steel, as the god Vulcan himself. He can throw a steel bridge across a raging river as easy as you could knock together a plank walk across one of your two-penny sewer trenches. Yes, and be planning out a tunnel or a railroad line in his head while doing it. 'Tis a wonderful thing to be associating with such a genius, and it's the proudest honor ever happened to a Giblin to be called his good right hand, which is the way he mentions me. Moreover," went on Uncle Patrick, pacing the floor, "when his present project is completed, it will be the century's greatest wonder, and his name will be on the lips of the world from here to Timbuktu." "Will it so?" Uncle Michael said sarcastically. "And what is this monstrous world's wonder, if I may ask?" "You may ask and not learn," his brother answered. "I'm not free to tell at the moment." "And what is the good right hand of this great genius doing in New York? How can the poor man manage to lace his boots without you, and him in the wilds of the West somewhere?" "I'm in New York on business for him," said Uncle Patrick. "Chiefly to pick up a good few men. Riggers, if I can find them. Real men, with the heart to do their work at dizzying heights and eat their lunches sitting on a girder, no bigger than your two hands, with nothing below them but empty air and maybe a stray seagull or two. I'd hopes that the lad here might crave a job with a bit of adventure to it, but I'm feared he hasn't the heart. He has the sense, Uncle Michael began. But Con pushed past him and faced the red-bearded giant. His face was pale now, his fists tightly clenched. I have the heart for any job any man can do, Uncle Patrick, he said quietly, and if I hadn't promised Father Riley to honor my elders, I'd tell it you in a stronger words. What's more, I've sat at dizzying heights and smoked a pipe with my friend Martin Brennan, the rigger, on the cross trees of many a tall-masted ship, and thought no more of it than I'd be sitting on a bench in Central Park feeding the squirrels. Uncle Patrick clapped his nephew on the shoulders with mighty hands. I thought I'd strike a spark of the old Giblin in you, he laughed. But what's this about a friend is a rigger? That's what I'm looking for. Does he know his work? Where can I find him? He's the best, I understand, Con answered. 5 years master rigger in the Belfast yards. A wee little man, crooked from a fall, but quick as a monkey, and hands on him can handle steel cable like an old lady with her knitting. But you'd be wasting your time, he added. He's choosy as to who he works for. Now, laddie, Uncle Patrick chuckled, I'm no ogre. You'll find I bark worse than I bite. Whereat does the little man work? Webb's shipyard on the East River, Con said. But don't be telling him I sent you. We're good friends, and I'd not having him thinking ill of me. He'll thank you from the bottom of his heart, Uncle Patrick laughed, when he hears what I'm offering him. I'll have him tomorrow. And now, what about you? Are you of a mind to go west with us, to a real job, with glory to it? Or are you for becoming a soft-handed office clerk, and seeing the world from a drainage ditch? I'm beholden to Uncle Michael for fetching me here across the sea, Con answered, and for treating me like a son of his own. And to Aunt Cecilia and the girls, for being mother and sisters to me. But you're beholden to no one, Uncle Michael interrupted sadly. You've earned back your passage many times, and little things we've done for you are out of love for you as a son. But like any son, you've got a right to a free choice. You're young, and your heart's crying for adventures, and I'd not be standing in your way, however you choose. When I was a lad of 12, Con said slowly, Aunt Honora read my fortune in the tea leaves. And this was the way of it. Your fortune lies to the west, lad, she said. Keep your face to the sunset and follow the evening star, and one day you'll ride the greatest wheel in all the world. Uncle Patrick stood thunderstruck. His chin dropped. He stared at Con with wondering eyes. What is that you're saying? He finally asked. That last part. Follow the evening star, Con repeated, and one day you'll ride the greatest wheel in all the world. It is a miracle, surely, Uncle Patrick said in an odd voice. A wonder indeed. 6 years ago, and her on the other side of the world, to be foretelling the future as clear as any soothsayer in the olden days, or the prophets of Holy Writ. An old woman's notion that makes no sense, Uncle Michael said. Where's the wonder in it? I shouldn't tell you, but I must, Uncle Patrick answered solemnly, and I'll trust you to keep it to yourself for the now. The wonder in it is this. Follow the evening star, and you'll come to Chicago. And in Chicago, at this moment, my boss, Mr. George Washington Gale Ferris, is setting out to build the greatest wheel in all the world.